To the spirit that visited me in my dreams last night, go to hell. And by the way, this video is dedicated to you. Guys, in this video, I want to unpack the dangers of a spirit spouse. I want to basically unveil the evils, the mystery behind such evil that maybe you've never heard of, maybe you have. But I'm telling you, this is something that is serious, and it's something that you definitely need to be paying attention to. This is not just for men, women as well. This spirit is not biased. It is no respecter of persons. It will inhabit and control whomever will give it a place to dwell. This video title is a warning. Your spirit spouse is waiting in the shadows for you. I'm going to try to unpack a lot of things in this video. And what I want you to understand about what I'm about to say is a lot of this is my personal experience, revelation that I've received from God, things that I just come to know and believe about these things. A lot of you know when you start practicing sexual integrity, you stop spilling your seed, you stop doing these things that bring no physical value or spiritual value to your life. This is when you start to get attacked, because these spirits want to bring you back into that old lifestyle that they're accustomed to you living. They want the comfort of you being blinded or being in the matrix, as Neo would say, not knowing that you're a slave, not knowing that you're in a prison that you can't smell, a prison that you can't taste, a prison that you can't feel. You're just going about your everyday life, and you think that the things that are transpiring are a result of happenstance, when indeed these things are spiritual, these things are calculated, and these things are thought out well in advance. So one of the things that we must talk about is how the spirit spouse waits in the shadows for you. Now, there's a couple ways that you can inherit or be indwelt with a spirit spouse. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is wild and bizarre. For some of you that are new to the channel, welcome. If this is your introduction to the channel, welcome. There's a lot more to be said. But this can be an inherited spirit from your bloodline. It can trickle down from your forefathers to your father to you, and just a spirit that has been around your bloodline for ages. Somewhere down that bloodline, this spirit was given access to be able to transport through the bloodlines from generation to generation, and now it's landed with you, and it begins to cause havoc in your life. So that's one way you can receive this or inherit this spirit spouse. Another way is your spirit spouse lying within the shadows. What do I mean by that? When you give it access to being sexually perverse, things like masturbation. You're giving yourself over to sexual immorality by masturbating, watching porn. You know, to masturbate, you have to imagine things. You have to imagine things in your mind to get that arousal. No one masturbates mindlessly, right? So you have to imagine things. Watching porn, filling yourself up with all types of wickedness and vile behavior, actually putting this before your eyes. David said, I will put no wicked thing before my eyes. So porn is another way that you can give access to a spirit spouse. These are the shadows, right? The things that you do in the dark, things that you do in the secret. Another way to inherit a spirit spouse is through fornication. You're just out here having sex, not married, and just getting it in with whoever, whenever, and however, right? You're just out here living your life, not taking heed, not taking into account the demons that you are granting access into your soul. Because every person you have sex with, you are inheriting those demons. There's a transfer of spirits. This is why it's so dangerous just to be out there sleeping around with anyone. You don't know this person's history. You don't know their past. You don't know what they're into. And when you have sex with these people, these random people, you come into covenant with them. Sex is a spiritual act before it's a physical act. We are spirit beings before we are physical beings. And you have to understand this because it's crucial to you being set free, understanding your enemy, understanding the approach and the tactics that these spirits will use in order to shape your life and mold it in the way that they want, which is going to be destruction. Okay? These are how these spirits get in. Adultery, committing adultery. You know, you're married and you're stepping out. You're a man and you're drinking water, drinking from cisterns that are not your own. You're a woman and you're opening yourself up to other men outside of a covenant relationship. You are inviting a spirit to come in and to shape and form and mold your life, to bring havoc in your life. Now, what you have to understand about all of these things I just mentioned, masturbation, fornication, watching porn, adultery, all of these things just bring more problems. When you masturbate, you lose confidence and you get erectile dysfunction. When you fornicate, you subject yourselves to STDs. A lot of people don't realize that STDs is a form of defilement. Back in the old days, primitive times, in the Bible times, Israelites had to go to the temple whenever they became defiled. They had to be cleansed of their defilement. This was a spiritual cleanse, but it was also a physical cleanse. They were physically unclean. Right? When you catch these STDs, these different things, this is a spirit. This is defilement for your sexual immorality. If you have these diseases, it's because you are sexually defiled. A spirit has defiled you. And the STD, the chlamydia, the gonorrhea, the herpes, this is a result of the spirit. This is what the spirit gives you in return for your permission for him to access you through these sexual means, right? So this is not a fair trade-off. And everybody thinks it's okay because you can go and grab you a couple pills and do a 10-day whatever and get yourself right. And you're back out there doing the same thing over and over again, taking your chances. Vaginosis. I know if you're a woman and you're watching this, you might not agree with this, but that's okay. And I want to advise you guys, don't take everything that I'm saying as the gospel. Go do your own research. Go ask the Lord to give you understanding, knowledge, wisdom. Ask the Holy Spirit to lead you and guide you. No one is perfect in everything that they say, and that includes me. So I definitely urge you to go and do your research and to ponder and consider these things. But vaginosis, getting back to vaginosis is if you sense a very foul smell, I mean, it is terrible, a very, very just putrid, repulsive smell coming from your private areas, right? This is in most cases, in my opinion, an evil spirit. right? Women try to go to the doctor. They tell them their pH balance is off, or they tell them, take a shower after you work out, or change your underwear 5 times a day. All of these different things that doesn't help. Here is the purpose. And again, this is my opinion, and just from my experience and putting things together and what I feel like the Lord has revealed to me. Okay. Here's my opinion. When you have vaginosis, this is a spirit spouse that's already claimed you, right? That smell is to repel men. It is to repel men and have them view you and think of you in a way that is going to be dishonoring to you, right? They're going to just subconsciously think and consciously think that you are unclean. You are defiled. You are sexually promiscuous. We've seen the videos. We've seen the movies talking about, a woman who has a foul smell. This is a spirit. The spirit wants to put out this putrid smell to repel men. If you're a woman and you have this, there's a good chance you have a spirit spouse, because what's going to happen is if you have this foul smell, this is going to raise suspicion. This is going to cause your husband to look at you in a very disapproving way. Now, for all of you women out there who say, I never stepped out on my husband, or I never did anything like that, you don't have to. You can watch porn. You can, masturbate. You can do these things, and you can inherit this smell. Again, women go to the doctor for these type of things, and there's no way to treat it other than they just tell you to up your hygiene. This is a spirit spouse. This is a spirit spouse, and you need to consider these things. So this is another form of defilement, right? You get gonorrhea, you get herpes. Herpes is something they say that you can't get rid of, right? So this is this spirit making its claim on you. So when you are out here living a life of sexual, just being sexually perverse and doing all types of wicked things and not honoring your temple. And when you do these things, you got to remember you are sinning against your own body, right? You are being defiled. You need to be cleansed, not only spiritually from your sin, but you need to be cleansed physically. If you're walking around with STDs, you are defiled. You are unclean. You are unclean. The Bible talks about this. It doesn't go and specifically say that it is a STD, but one can assume that if a person has an STD, you are unclean. We know that you are unclean. You are unfit for sexual activity. No one wants to have sex with a person who is defiled. If you knew a person had gonorrhea, you wouldn't sleep with them, male or female. If you knew a person had herpes, you wouldn't come near them. If you knew a person had HIV, you would not come near them. Why? Because in your mind, you would say they are unclean. These are the results, and these are the trade-offs of having a spirit spouse. These are the results of having a spirit spouse. And you need to really take heed to this. Now, that's dealing with the shadows. Let's talk about the signs that you see outside of the physical implications of a spirit spouse. When you begin to practice sexual purity, for us men on the channel, we're practicing semen retention. We're not just spilling our seed on any and everyone. We're not doing these things outside of the proper context from which God has provided, right? When you begin to walk this journey, you say, you know what? I'm no longer masturbating. I'm no longer watching porn. I'm no longer fornicating. I'm no longer committing adultery. I'm no longer walking around and mentally thinking about every woman that I see and imagining wicked imaginations. When this begins to happen, because the Lord has sparked a change in your heart, when this begins to happen, this is when the evil spirit will visit you in the dream. I know there's a lot of propaganda out there that says that wet dreams are a natural occurrence. Wet dreams are healthy for you. It's just your body releasing fluid. I'm here to tell you that is not what I believe, and that is not the truth, right? It is not just a natural occurrence. It is a spiritual thing that is happening that if you are not aware, this spirit is going to impose on you all types of curses and evil in this dispensation. Now, I know a lot of you Bible scholars are going to say out there, Christ became a curse for us. I get it. I understand. But what you have to understand is we live in two realities. We live in a spirit world. Well, we are spiritual beings that also have bodies. There's a spiritual realm. There's a earthly realm. Christ died and became a curse to remove the wrath of God from us so that we wouldn't perish, so that we would have access to eternal life. Okay? Proof of this is that Christ died and became a curse, but yet you still die. So him dying on the cross hasn't stopped people from having funerals. Him dying on the cross hasn't stopped people from getting sick and being poor and making bad decisions. Him dying on the cross has not stopped women from having child labor pains. Okay. Him dying on the cross has not stopped man from working by the sweat of his brow. Okay. Him dying on the cross has not stopped these things. What Christ dying on the cross has stopped is the impending judgment that was waiting for us. He has removed that stain of sin from us and granted us access into the heavenly realms because we have his righteousness. But on the earthly plane, there are things that still affect you in this earthly realm. Spiritual principles that still lay hold to you. And these are the things that these spirit spouses are doing. This is why a lot of you can't get married, because a spirit spouse has claimed you. These spirits are very territorial, very jealous. If you're a woman, their job is to either make you hate your husband or cause you to do things in order for your husband to hate you. It's a fact. If you're a guy and you're laying in your bed and you rather masturbate than have sex with your wife, you have a spirit spouse. If you're a woman and you no longer have a desire for your husband and you're having sex in your dreams and that's more enjoyable to you, you can't wait to go to sleep, right? You have a spirit spouse. The spirit spouse is there to bring division between you and your partner. Because the spirit spouse is saying, no, I'm married to this person. This is my property. This is my possession. And they're trying to block the other person out. But this is wicked and this is unlawful. Goes all the way back to the Nephilim and the sons of God coming down and finding the daughters of man to be beautiful, to be fair, and they took them and they mated with them and they produced giants. They produced Nephilim, these demigods, that ruled the world and brought terror on the world, taught the people how to do all sorts of evil, how to war, how to make weapons, taught them spiritual principles that they were not privy to. And God had to create a flood to flush out this evil, because in Genesis 6:5, it says that every inclination of man's heart was continuously evil. So now that these spirits have been disembodied from the flood, these spirits now seek to have a body, to have possession, right? These are sexual demons. You got to understand, God sent these beings down to look over and guard over man, and they decided to be sexual with the daughters of man. They had a sexual appetite, right? I can't get deep into that because I don't have all the knowledge. I just have surface knowledge on that. But that is a very interesting topic that when you get some time, you should check it out, because I'm going to check it out. But these spirits, these beings that came down, they had a sexual appetite, so much so that they took the daughters of man for themselves and they wifed them, and they produce seed, they produce offspring. So now that these spirits have been disembodied, they've been washed out in the flood, they're roaming around without a body. And what they're doing is they are possessing individuals. Now, here's what you have to understand about a spirit and the spirit world. It works off of spiritual principles. A spirit cannot just come and possess you, take advantage of you. There has to be some type of spiritual access that is granted, some type of agreement that is granted that gives them legal right to be able to do this. This is why the Bible calls Satan the adversary. He stands before God day and night accusing the brethren, right? The reason he's accusing is because he's using the law of God to condemn you. He's using the law of God to bring havoc on you. That's why when the children of Israel would fall into various sins against God, God would send a plague on them. Numbers chapter 30 is a prime example. They came and integrated with the Moabites, ate food sacrificed to idols, committed sexual immorality, and God sent a plague on them. Right. So Satan wants to get you to fall into sin so he can go tattletale, so he can go tell the Father, look at what this person did. Don't allow them to make this next level. Don't allow them to get that job. This person doesn't deserve to be married. This person doesn't deserve to have that type of life. Look at what they did. They have transgressed your law. He's constantly accusing you. This is what the spirit spouse is doing. It's saying, look at what he did. He just slept with that girl that he met a night ago. Look at what he's doing right now. Look at him. He's watching porn. He's jacking off. He's desecrating keyboards, laptops, and desktops. He's being manipulated and dominated by female culture because your word he has not hid in his heart that he might not sin against you. He deserves a curse. He deserves a curse. That curse will come upon you in this earthly realm. Now, if you're redeemed by the Messiah, you've been saved from eternity past. The Bible says that the blood of the Lamb was slain before the foundations of the world. So if you are Christ and you belong to him, you will make it into heaven. But when you stand before God on Judgment Day, the question is going to be not a matter of did you get in? It's going to be, what did you do for the kingdom? How did you enhance the kingdom? Did you allow your sin? Did you allow distractions to keep you from completing God's plan and his mission for you right here on the planet? There's going to be different levels. People are going to have different rewards in heaven based off of what they did in the body, right? What are your rewards going to be when you stand before God? Understand this. So demons, sexual spouses are looking for rights, legal rights, in order to come in and wreak havoc in your life. Here's another thing that you have to understand. Everyone knows, or everyone should know, or everyone who is spiritual knows that one of the easiest ways to entrap a person is sexually. It's through sexual immorality, right? If you want to, you've seen all the drug movies where they'll send the woman to go seduce the man, and then, the guy, while he's in there having sex with the lady, the guys jump out the closet and they murder the dude, right? Because he was driven away by his own lust and enticed by females, enticed by lust, and he died, right? Everyone knows this. When people and demons try to overtake your life and they want to, get a way into your life, get access into your life, the easiest way is through sexual immorality, Because the passions in the flesh, if you're not if you're not able to rule over those passions, you're going to fall. You're going to fall into sin. That's just what's going to happen. You're going to fall into sin. And once you fall into sin, this is how a person gets oppressed by an evil spirit. This is how you get a spirit spouse. So once you start changing the trajectory of your life and you start trying to go a new way, this spirit is going to come to you in your dreams to have sex with you. It's coming to have sex with you, right? Because what it's trying to do is it's trying to extract your seed. Now, in the dream world, you have your own spiritual semen, but it's like the times when you're like, you're in a dream and you think that you're using the restroom in the dream, but you're actually peeing on yourself, right? So you're peeing in the dream and you're peeing in actual reality, right? When you're having a wet dream, you're actually giving off spiritual semen because you're in a spirit world, in a spirit capacity. And you're also, in most cases, releasing your natural seed out of your body. That seed that you're releasing in the realm of the spirit, that seed is being used to be placed on demonic altars to produce things that are evil, things that are going to just make your life a living hell. If you're a woman and you're masturbating, your eggs are being confiscated. If you're in a dream having sex with some spirit spouse, your eggs are being confiscated spiritually. And they're taking those eggs and they're taking that sperm and they're producing evil things. I could say things that are much more deeper on this subject matter. What the heck? I'll just go ahead and say it. They're taking that egg from the female in the spirit, and they're taking that sperm and they're producing offspring in the realm of the spirit. That's what they're doing. They're producing offspring. I know you think this is bizarre, but listen, if you want to get this knowledge, understanding, you got to stop spending all your time on TikTok. You got to stop spending all your time on Instagram. You got to stop scrolling, watching this show, watching that show. Once you take some time to pray and fast, once you quiet down your life so you can get revelation and you can hear these different types of things. Again, I'm not saying everything I'm saying is the gospel, but what I am saying is that a lot of you know that when you, and have attested to this, is that when you started to retain your seed, you began to have sexual dreams in order to get you to release your seed. I'll tell you this one story, man. When I really start taking semen retention serious, and I think I was on like a 18 or 20 day streak, and I was in this dream. I'm a dreamer. I dream a lot. I was in this dream, and in this dream, the spirit appeared to me in the form of a person that I knew, a person that I never was involved with, but it's a person that I knew. So I'm guessing the spirit was trying to, formulate something that he thought that I would like based off of just study of me, right? Because these spirits study you. You give them intel by what you look at and what you gravitate towards, and they'll build a blueprint off of that information. But in the dream, the spirit spouse said it was dressed very seductively in like a bra and panties. And it looked at me and said, "Come on, help me out." What it was suggesting was that I engaged in the sexual activity in the dream. That's what it was suggesting. Come on, help me out. Get back to your old way of living. Get back to how you used to get down. That's what we need. That's what we want. You're making things difficult. So once I started having that dream, and then it was several other dreams just like that, man. Just dreams of just trying to get you to engage in that sexual activity. And this is the reason why they want to engage in the dream in sex. Number one, that sex is going to be better than sex that you have in the physical realm. That's just what it is, right? You're in a different reality. You're in a different realm, that sex is going to be better than the sex you have in the real world. It's going to be better than what you have in the real world. And when you engage, the reason they want you to engage in that sexual activity is because it is going to form a covenant. When you have sex, it forms a covenant. You become one with the person. Now, you have to understand, when the Bible says that when the two come together, when man and woman come together, they become one flesh, right? You say, how can you become one flesh? They're becoming one. They're being joined spiritually. Their souls are being joined, and their bodies are being joined for the moment, right? When that interaction happens. So when you have sex in the realm of the spirit, this is forming a covenant. That's why when, back in the old days, sex was to consummate a marriage. The shedding of blood, when a man went into a woman and penetrated her and the blood was spilled, that was to consummate the covenant, the agreement, right? So if you're in your dreams and you're having sex, a lot of times you'll see blood in the sex. You'll see this woman starts bleeding in the dream. This is the form of covenant with you, a blood covenant. A blood covenant is strong, right? So when you have these dreams, you have to wake up and you have to cancel these dreams. You have to cancel these dreams, man, because if you don't, if you just let it be, if you just think this is just a way for you to release without counting, it has a relapse, you're in for a huge awakening, right? And what happens? What are the implications of coming into agreement? You don't know what these demons are trying to do to you, right? Number one, they're trying to keep you from having healthy relationships. Number two, they're trying to wreck your finances. Number three, they're trying to bring disease on you, right? They're trying to do everything to keep you from being or from having the favor of man, and also having God's judgment upon you in this earthly realm because you continue and continue and continue to sin. So this is the reason why they want to form these covenants, because if all these things are happening to you, then guess what? They have you all to themselves, and they can do with you whatever they want. Guys, you have to wake up. You have to wake up. Men and women, you have to wake up. This is serious, man. This is serious. This is not for the faint of heart. It's not. You have to wake up and understand what you're dealing with, because it's a serious, serious thing. What I want to do for you right now is I want to just, when you have these dreams, you have to wake up and cancel these dreams. You can't go back to sleep. You can't be lazy. You have to get up. You have to pray. You have to pray until you get released. You have to pray. You renounce and denounce coming into covenant with the evil spirit. You bind up the strong man. You prevent these things from coming into the earthly realm, because this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to forge these covenants so they can birth in the earthly realm what's in the spirit. But if you're having these dreams and you remember these dreams, then you have a chance to actually pray against it and stop it. Right? The good thing is, don't get discouraged. The fact that this battle has taken place in your dream world is proof that you're on the right track. It's proof. I love you guys. I hope you got value out of this video. Hit the like button. If you did get value, I appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel. I told you guys we're going up in 23. And we're going to spread this truth around the world. I love you. Hold My Nuts Podcast. I'll holler at you guys in the next video. Peace.